Hello, everyone. Welcome to Game Junk Prototype episode 35, recording on Saturday, November 7th, right? Yep, 2020. My name is Frank.
My name is Sean.
And my name's Andrew.
Well, this is the earliest recording that I can remember of Game Junk. It's just after 11 a.m., which means I just woke up barely because I had to. Went to bed
For the fans. For the fans.
You know, all for the fans. These guys, they got kids. They're up anyway, but I was not. And you have to get up on a weekend like this because it's the last weekend before two major console releases. I stayed up into the wee hours of the morning watching review videos for peripherals, games, consoles. We're going to break down the debacles that are happening across.
There's a few.
And we're going to wrap it up, see where we're at just heading into next week. What do you guys think? Has it been a debacle-filled week? Are you happy? Are you even getting anything next week? Are you a bunch of losers? What's happening?
Well, I'm hoping. I've got the PS5 pre-ordered, as mentioned. We'll see if it comes on Thursday.
Well, that's a whole other issue.
Yeah, I'm a little worried.
I could say I ordered a PS5, but not a retail version.
Mm-hmm.
So who knows when that's going to get here? It could be like 2 months, but interesting to play around with that. Fun piece of tech.
But didn't you already get the shipping notification for it?
I did, but who knows how long the shipping will take. So it hasn't actually gone into the mail yet. It's been created. You know how they send that one? Like Sony started it off, the payment or whatever.
Are you allowed to say what it is, like officially? Some people might not know what it is based on what you said there.
Oh, okay. Well, I ordered a PlayStation 5 development kit for developing on PS5. So I could say that. I mean, I'm not showing any pictures of it or anything.
No, I assume that
an Xbox Series X dev kit?
What was that?
Did you order an Xbox Series X dev kit?
No, I am not allowed to yet.
Oh, okay.
I'm not cool enough.
Now, I guess do they even have it? Like, I don't know. I mean, I don't know if this is public knowledge. Like how you could turn a console, the Xbox One, into a dev kit or test kit and stuff like that. I guess you could do a PS4 into a test kit, I think. But have they announced any plans for that stuff with Series X? I'm not really in the loop.
Not that I'm aware of, but I haven't read too much about it.
Okay.
But I thought it was kind of unique what you were saying, that the PS5 dev kits are just open for anyone to buy, right?
No. Open for anyone who is a Sony developer.
Oh, but like you don't have to have like a company behind you or anything like that, and you don't have to be approved.
You do have to have a company as well. Like you need to be an official developer. So if you're an official developer with like a corporation, you can buy them now. But before, it was locked to only companies that were like going to ship something in the launch window.
Oh, okay.
So they weren't kind of just because they were limited on hardware. And same with Series X still. That's why I can't order a Series X kit. They're basically limiting. I don't have any things I'm working on that would be considered launch window, so I can't get them. But now PS5, I guess they've caught up, and now they're opening it up to more devs that just can order them now.
Cool.
Yeah.
Very cool. I don't know. I'm looking at all this stuff. Do you want to get into some of these topics right away? The controversies of the day.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, the only other thing I thought we could try to do, because I know obviously with the systems coming out next week, if people are still debating, like, should I try to get one? If you haven't already pre-ordered, maybe we could just do a quick like recap of what the pros and cons are, like why maybe you should buy now or why you should wait, something like that real quick. But
well, I don't know if I'm going to go, Sean. I don't want to step on your idea here.
Okay.
But I don't think we should do a full pro con yet. I think we have all of our knowledge is, hearsay, so to speak. We don't have any hands-on experience with these machines. So
that's true. But I mean, like that's what
from like, in general, do you think you need this thing or not? Now, the obvious answer is yes. You need both day one.
Right.
If you don't, you're a huge loser. But we'll get into some nuance there if you want. I'm totally open to it. But I
I think
will be a loser on Tuesday so far. I'm going to try to get an Xbox One Series X because I just have
so.
to.
I took Sean's comment as saying like, if you want to get one, don't bother going to a store, because
Okay.
they just
Oh,
announced today that there is no online, or sorry, there is no in-person presence for these consoles. You have to order them online. You have to pre-order them. So if you're thinking of lining up at like EB or whatever on the 10th or the 12th, like don't even bother. They won't even have them. And so that's something. So if you are interested, don't wait for an in-store. Don't think you're going to go to a store and get one, because you're not. It
Well,
sounds like
I like that kind of propaganda because I've talked to a few places, neither of those retailers, that have said we are probably going to have a few that they didn't have for pre-order. They're not 100% sure yet, so I'm hoping everyone stays away from the stores and I can make a late push.
yeah. Well, I mean, and part of it is because of COVID. They don't want crowds descending on the stores. But they did say, like, I assume this is what they would do anyway, but they held back some for online orders for the day of launch. So a lot of the big retailers will have some going up for sale on launch day, just to kind of tie in with all the hype. And if you're just hearing about it now and you're like, damn, I actually want one, there's a chance you can still get one on launch day, just
And even
online.
then, like by the time it ships, let's say the earliest you could get it is the next day, you're still a loser.
That is true.
Like
Nothing you can do
gotta
about
have
that
it
now.
first day. That's the only way to buy a new console. But I did step on your idea a little bit, Sean, but I think we could do a version of that. I think we should do a version of that where it's more not necessarily pros and cons, but weighing the should you buy it day one? Like
Yeah, I
is
just,
it actually required?
obviously we've been reading some of the reviews and things that have been coming out. So there's just some interesting things, like in terms of comparing the two consoles, and also just the launch titles. Like in my opinion, it's been kind of unclear what games are actually going to be available at launch for both systems. But we've got a list here that we could just quickly highlight the worthwhile ones. Maybe, I don't know, just throwing that out there. But
So
there's some other stuff to
Sean
talk about.
did my job as host and put a lot of articles into a nice little link here. So I'm just gonna go through them, see where we're at, and then we'll make a decision at the end.
Sure.
Okay. And maybe talk about some of the reviews. So we talked about this one. PS5s will be online only for launch, which I don't know, seems kind of interesting. Like, especially in the COVID world, how do you decide which stores get more than other ones? And it just seems like they can distribute things more evenly with something like that. So that didn't seem too crazy to me at all.
No, that makes sense. I think the one after that is the
Yes.
one I'm a little more curious about, because Best Buy said they will be selling next gen consoles online only for the entire holiday season. I'm not sure what other retailers have said that, but it's interesting. Like, will there even be a way to buy any of these in store before Christmas? That I'm not sure of.
Yeah. I mean, again, this could all be hype. Like, and it might be all in efforts to keep people, no crowds on the actual Thursday and this weekend, maybe Black Friday as well. So um, I don't know if I put too much, although they announced it. So I think other stores will have them. I can't see a place like Walmart going online only or anything like that. So I think there will be some in stores. And I genuinely think if you want one by Christmas, you will be able to get one.
Hopefully.
Um, so the next one, PlayStation 5 has no expandable storage support for launch.
Yeah.
This seems to be a biggie that I've seen mentioned in almost every review. And it is, I mean, to me, it was kind of expected, to be perfectly honest, in terms of like they have this new hard drive,
SSD.
solid state. Yeah, that's like extremely fast. but we'll talk about that in a bit too. And I don't know, like I kind of expected that to be the case. I personally wasn't even planning on doing anything expandable. Like I would only want to have stuff installed so that it would load the fastest way possible. Obviously, Xbox has not a great solution either, but a solution where, well, I think Xbox, you can use old hard drives and have typical old load times, right? For older games, although they don't have any games that are exclusive to next gen anyway. So, or you can have a proprietary fast loading card that plugs into the back, which at one point was hard to find. I don't know where that stands now, but I mean, it's not great. I really haven't dug too far into the articles, but I mean, I'm personally okay with it. It is kind of weird. But what do you guys think? Big deal?
Well, they did say that like so the PS5 supposedly has 825 gigs of storage, but because of OS stuff that's on there, apparently you actually end up with 667 gigs realistically, which is, that could be an issue. But I think the reason they're probably doing this, I mean, other than to save time, or, it's obviously something they'll put out in a patch later, but probably because they don't want people trying to plug in slower hard drives and slowing down those load times. They want people to experience those super fast load times and not have any issues with that, because that's a big selling point of this console.
Yeah, I think people are just going to have to live with having to delete games off their system and not have a huge library of games on their system. Games are only going to get bigger. These games are meant for 4K now. They're going to have 4K textures. I see in this article that the new Call of Duty is 133 gigs.
Yeah,
that's before any patches.
Yeah,
so that's only going to get bigger.
Patches for that game are enormous. Like that game
yeah,
is
they're like 100 gigs
100
themselves.
gigs on my Xbox right now.
Yeah, so that game alone is going to take up all the space. And if you're playing that on a 4K TV, you're going to want all the bells and whistles. You're not going to want them to make like shittier assets just so it's a little smaller on your hard drive. You're just going to have to pick your battles. And I mean, if you look at the cost of similar speed SSDs to what Sony is saying they have, they're very expensive. They're probably more expensive than the consoles. So you're looking at a technology that Sony can't say like, here's the Sony branded upgrade and oh yeah, it's more expensive than the console. Like they need to figure out a way to get the cost down to make it affordable so people don't lose their minds saying that they need to spend basically like, $1,200 or whatever just to have extra storage space. $1,200 plus like 600 for the console, whatever, 600 for that. And I think people are just going to have to get used to it. This is just going to be the way things are, and still until the SSDs can have more space for a similar price. And this fast SSD technology is pretty new still, and it's just going to be the price we pay for gaming in 4K.
Well, I would say the big disappointment here, and where it really is an issue to me, or something that could have been provided, is a way of offloading games to storage. So maybe you can't run them off secondary storage, but for people who have limited internet bandwidth and download capacities, like you said, these games are over 100 gigs very often these days. If you have a monthly limit and you got to switch it back and forth between these games, at least it would have been nice to have a way to have a hard drive where you're done with the game, you just move it and move it back or something like that. Like at least that would be kind of reasonable, and you wouldn't have to re-download an entire game. Maybe that exists and I just don't know about it, but I haven't seen anything about it. So that kind of sucks, I gotta say, because I mean, I finally have unlimited internet, but there was a long time where I didn't, and this would have been a deal breaker.
Yeah, they might be able to patch something like that in, but I don't know. I haven't read the details of what kind of thing. Like you'd think they'd be able to connect to storage and recognize it, but maybe they don't want to be able to allow that sort of transfer, or maybe they don't want to install the software to like test which hard drive the game is installed on and then deny it being able to run from that other type. I don't know. It could be pretty complicated, I suppose.
All right. So while we're talking about load times and hard drives and stuff like that, all of the reviews, there's videos everywhere about comparing load times. So on the old console and the new console, and all the comparisons I've seen specifically are playing a game in backwards compatibility mode. So taking the same executable from the old generation onto the new generation and compare the load times for the same save file, pretty much, right? Or starting up the game fresh. So I saw the Xbox video a few days ago, and I mean, some stuff is a lot faster. That's intriguing for sure. And I'm looking at some stats for the PlayStation 5 from The Verge about some comparisons for some games. They're all different. I'd say it generally seems like maybe a third of the loading time for most stuff, I would say, with a few exceptions. But even then, I was kind of surprised. They're a little long. Like in my head, I thought this load time was, I mean, it's fast, don't get me wrong, but I don't know if it's the game changer I thought it was, because it's still like 2 minutes for some stuff, over a minute. Like that's not going to change design all that much. Now, I don't know if this was loading like straight up for the first time. Once you're in a game, maybe there could be bigger impacts, but I got to say, I'm happy about it. Don't get me wrong. But where I would thought this was going to open up a lot of areas for game designers in terms of not needing weird loading volumes and transitions and stuff like that, I don't know if it's that big of a game changer. But I will say, out of this list, and then I'll let you guys weigh in on this, we talked about this a lot on our Ghost of Tsushima review, talking about how amazing the fast travel and load times were on there. Its load times only improved by 6 seconds. From 1 minute and 10 seconds to 1 minute and 4 seconds. So I don't know what kind of magic they were already doing on that game, which we've talked about before. This has got to be for like loading from scratch, because once you're in the game in that game, like loading takes literally 5 seconds to go between areas. So I don't know. What do you guys think? Are you impressed with the load numbers? Do you care? Have you seen anything else I haven't talked about?
I wonder if there's some like SDK, which is a software development kit, like features you need to use, because if you're, remember they were touting it for Spider-Man, which is super fast. They showed it from a fresh boot and it was super fast, right?
Yeah,
so
sorry,
that
I'll
was
give you those numbers. So Miles Morales, 15 seconds on PS5. And I don't know if that's the that could be the PS5 version. That number really sticks out to me. And the PS4, 1 minute and 27 seconds. So it is a dramatic improvement. And it could be what you're saying. They are.
Yeah. Because Ghost of Tsushima, that game, like, should be pretty similar in size to Miles Morales as far as the amount of stuff they need to load in if you're loading in fresh. So because they're loading essentially a PS4 game, I wonder if there are new like functions and stuff you call to load specifically from the SSD that make it much faster. Like, I wonder if the SSD and all the processors, there's a call that lets you like parallelize all of the loading kind of faster. Whereas I wonder if the PS4 version is still basically just loading one file at a time, essentially. So I wonder if the PS5 has a way to make everything faster that way. You're basically loading multiple things at the same time.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I didn't see the list that you were talking about, Frank. I don't know if it's like the backwards compatible games that are really long or what, but I don't know. The impression I got was it's the next gen games for PS5 are super fast. And I think part of that is the tech, and part of that is, you know, whatever they've got kind of underlying it that, you know, helps them load faster.
I haven't seen, maybe they're out there and I just haven't seen the, like, I want to see comparing, you know, the next gen version, like the actual executable built for PlayStation 5 or whatever, or Series X, with the old version and see some load time comparisons there and visual comparisons. I haven't seen any of that stuff yet. So maybe I'm just missing them, but that's the stuff I'm actually like really excited to see, where a lot of the articles I've read are about like backwards compatibility mode, which who cares? I'm done. I'm on to the next gen, baby. I'm not even worried about backwards compatibility. Who's looking backwards? I'm looking forwards. Where's our next consoles? I don't even know these things. Okay, let's get to some more articles here. So this kind of relates to quick loading and Xbox quick resume not working with all games. And in addition to that, I think, Sean, you had said, or this article on The Verge had said, there's no quick resume on the PS5 right now. Now, I think from what we talked about before the show, that's like you can still have one game that's suspended if you don't turn off your console, but Xbox had the ability to kind of quick resume many games or save your state in multiple games, which is a kind of cool feature. I typically am not playing more than one game at once. I think that would apply maybe more to online gamers that, you know, maybe bounce back and forth when they're playing with different people. But even then, when you're in an online, like every time I log back into Call of Duty, it like boots me out of the menu, tells me I need an update. It like when you start needing to be connected to servers for menus and all this shit, like that experience is choppy at best.
Yeah, and it does say in the one article there that quick resume, if it's an online game, you're still going to get booted from it. So that's not going to change, obviously.
So I don't know. I typically don't play more than one game at a time. And people are obviously saying with the quick load times, is it as big of a factor if you need to start up another game? Huck, do you want to make your point from the beginning of the show?
I don't remember my point.
Oh, I remembered it when I prompted you, and now I forgot it. Give me 1 second. So, it was the fact that saves, like one version you have to have saved if you're going to quit out, where with Xbox, if you didn't save necessarily, you can pick up right where you left off without actually explicitly saving. Now that you saving games is becoming a little more lenient. It's not like what it was.
You're talking there about comparing starting from a fresh boot to the quick resume. Yeah. And you just have to have saved if you're just going to take advantage of the speed of loading, obviously.
Yeah, so the other kind of weird things about this. So yeah, not every game is working with the quick resume right now. And they haven't really made clear which ones do and don't work with it, but apparently there's a big patch coming on launch day that may fix some of this stuff. But the other thing, I think they said what? Go ahead.
No, keep going. Sorry, I gotta.
The other thing is that apparently it kind of maxes out at like five or six games that you can have kind of saved state on at a time. And when you start going beyond that, I think it releases the save states for the earlier games. So it's kind of like you might go back to an older game that you thought you had quick resumed, and it'll just have to load from the start, which may not be an issue, but it depends on like the checkpoints or save points in that game and where you might just think that you saved and maybe you didn't, and that could be a problem.
Okay, just to clarify something I wasn't sure about earlier, you can still play PS4 games on an external hard drive on your PS5.
Okay.
So, I mean, that's not the biggest deal. But
are you sure that that's for launch, though?
Yeah.
Because, I mean,
this Ars Technica did tests. So, and this is a little more impressive, actually. So, Miles Morales, PS5, it looks like saving a few dozen. I don't know what the standard for this load time is, but Miles Morales on PS5, 2.6 seconds. Bug Snacks, 5.6 seconds. Last of Us NA and Tony Hawk 1 and 2 NA, which to me reads as instantaneous for the most part. Or maybe that's they don't run. It could be one of the two things. I don't want to do that today. Anyway. PS4 game on PS5 internal. Oh, sorry. Never mind. I'm wrong. That's just the actual executable for PS5. There currently isn't an PS5 executable for Last of Us or Tony Hawk. So it's only available in backwards compatibility mode. Okay. So Miles Morales, 2.6 seconds. PS4 version running on PS5 internally, 13.3 seconds. PS4 on PS5 through an external hard drive, 22.5 seconds. And PS4 Pro just on its own, 56 seconds. So I kind of take back what I said. These are pretty small numbers for PS5 executables. I'm pumped. Right. Get me this thing already. I just want to talk about what games I'm going to buy. All of them.
Oh, we'll get there.
Well, speaking of games, I didn't read too much about this, but Sackboy, A Big Adventure online multiplayer delayed.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a huge deal, I guess. It depends how excited you were about that feature, but they just literally, week before launch, they're like, yeah, this isn't going to be there. This will be a patch later. So obviously there's some, features that are coming in hot with these next gen games, and this is a big launch title for them. So they still need to get it out.
It's not a big launch title. I think it's $50, right? It's not even a full price launch title. So be careful.
I mean, well, when we start talking about launch titles compared to Xbox, this is an exclusive first party launch title for Sony. So
I understand that, but there's $80 games and then there's $40 games. I think this is a $40 game. So
okay, I didn't know that part.
Because it means there is probably not online trophies for this game, which I am very pleased with.
I don't know if that's actually true, Frank. I'm going to double check. I'm going to fact check you on that one because I feel like I saw Sackboy was $79.99 at Best Buy. Let me just double check.
Fact check away.
Yeah, $79.99 at Best Buy. So I believe it is full price.
Is that a Canadian thing though? No. Aren't the games $89.99?
It would be $59.99 in the US, I believe.
No, I mean, aren't next-gen titles $89.99 in Canada?
Not all of them. Some of them. It depends. It's up to the publisher.
Okay. I could have swore it was only $59. Maybe. Did they change that? Anyway, whatever. It's still less than all the other titles for the most part. Okay, we'll go halfway, closer to your way. Is that okay?
Sure, yeah.
Right. Maybe they knew that was going to be an issue and they already... That's why they picked that price. I'm not sure. I'm still excited for that game. What's next on the list here? So nice segue into Best Buy here. PS5 demo units overheating in store kiosks.
Yeah, this is a funny one because I saw it first on IGN, and it was very much a big headline that actually, let me see if I can see exactly how they phrased it. It was kind of in a way that seemed to imply, didn't mention the store kiosk part. Like it did say something about demo units or something, but oh, it looks like it's gone now. It was something like PS5 demo units already overheating or something like that. And the fact that it was already seemed like a little bit of a editorializing on their part.
And this, I think it's teasing their podcast. Like it's like a clickbait for a clip from their podcast. Like it's a video if you click on it. So
yeah, right.
Yeah, this is pretty gross. Makes you want to barf for sure. But I mean, I did dig into it a bit, and it seems like the places where this is happening, they literally have a plastic case around the console surrounding it, trapping in the heat. Probably not an ideal situation. Although, I mean, I think for the most part, a lot of old consoles had demo kiosks that were trapped inside plastic casing. So I don't think this is the first time that's ever happened.
Yeah, I assume that that's the problem. Maybe just that they are doing what they always did, and the PS5 does not like that. But yeah, it was just basically one person at one store took a screenshot that kind of went viral, and it just said, like the PS5 had a black screen up that said your PS5 is too hot. Wait until the temperature cools down. So, I mean, it could have just been one faulty unit too. We're not really sure, but it's definitely something to
Well,
be
I'm
aware of
telling you,
with.
this propaganda campaign against PlayStation, it's kind of working. I would say it's half PlayStation's fault. Like there is some weird stuff going on that they like didn't answer questions about for launch, and people are asking like what's going on with this stuff. So I'm not gonna defend them uh like for the most part. There's definitely some issues going on, and people I think seem to want to make the console war divide closer than it actually is. Probably because they get a lot of stuff and advertising money from Microsoft. But I'm assuming if you put an Xbox Series X in a plastic case and ran it all day, it would have a chance to overheat as well. So that's pure speculation. But I don't know. The games, it's still not even close to me. I cannot speak to the user experience of the. I mean, I guess I've played the new version of the Xbox user experience on a One X, which is much better than it was. So that's looking good. But until I get into those menus and see these load times, and we haven't talked about it yet, the people talking about the haptic feedback on the DualSense are just losing it. It's like what HD Rumble was supposed to be on the Switch. So I am really excited to see what that's all about.
Those are kind of I would say the two big features that seem to be like nobody's, raving about the graphics specifically. Like that's kind of always been the standard thing of next gen. Like how good does it look? But everybody's raving about the load times and the haptics on the DualSense for PS5.
So, Huck, what do you think about this overheating? Is this bad news? Do you care?
I think it's someone stupid putting a really hot device in an enclosed space with no ventilation. Of course, it's going to happen.
Maybe this is why Sony made the PS5 such a weird shape. It's forcing everybody to have to put it on top of their systems instead of inside of some sort of cabinet.
I think it's a non-story. I think it's just a clickbait headline to try to get money for advertising. Like, of course, if you enclose anything, if you enclose your computer in a plastic box with no ventilation, it's going to overheat. Like everything's going to overheat. Everything that makes heat, if you trap that heat, it's going to overheat. Like it's just obvious.
I guess I was a little surprised noting in the deconstruction or breakdown videos for the PS5 how much went into heat sinks, and then like they had a huge heat sink in the console. So I mean, you don't know how long it took to overheat as well, right? Like that's
but I mean, even if the heat sink is getting all the heat off of the CPU, like if you're then recycling that hot air to cool it back down, it's not going to cool it back down. So,
well, we need the heat stress test for the Xbox. We gotta
get a plastic box.
more content. I need overheat comparison video stat.
I have to admit though that this story, as much as it is just kind of clickbait and a non-story, it's not good for Sony to have this thing floating around out there, because I think a lot of people are just seeing overheating and they're like, oh shit, the PS5's overheat, and like they're not really looking into what the story is. And that's something you hear about at launch, that sometimes consoles just there's something wrong, something flawed at launch, and that's like your worst nightmare. So I hope they correct it, or I don't know. I don't know how this story kind of got out there, but it's not good for them.
Well, I'll do a bit of my internal monologue while you were talking about that, just to show how insane I am.
Okay.
you were talking about, and I'm like, that could be a good thing. Like, I wonder if people will start canceling their PS5 pre-orders. And then I was thinking, well, there's a few people that I know are looking for them, so I'm trying to find them for them, or a digital version for myself. Like, what if I bought too many of them? Could I keep two and have one for upstairs, for downstairs? Which all led me to the thought, which is what I actually want to ask about. Is there any updates on cloud saving for next gen? Like, have they changed any of that system? Is it still the same, or you have to manually manage all that stuff? I haven't seen anything. Obviously, Xbox is great at, no matter where you're playing, the cloud, on your mobile, PC, any version of Xbox, it's in like seamlessly grabbing your save games off the cloud. Does Sony have an answer for that this gen, or is it still like just standard cloud saving? I haven't seen anything. I'm just curious.
I don't know the answer to that specifically. The only thing I've seen out there that maybe is worth mentioning is that the PS5 does not do cloud save if you don't have PlayStation Plus. So, and on top of that, they don't have the ability to export save files to a USB. So you basically need PlayStation Plus if you want to be able to move save files around for PS5.
Well, that's not ideal.
No, it is not.
I guess you could pay for PS Plus for 1 month and then do your uploads and then do your downloads after you kick on the new console or whatever you're doing with it.
Still kind of gross. You definitely have to hand like the ease of use to Microsoft with a lot of stuff.
We're pretty spoiled with on Microsoft by having that, because it is incredible to be able, like, I use it all the time between my PC and my Xbox One, and I was trying out the cloud gaming. Like, it's so easy. Like, you don't even have to worry about it.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, next article. PS5 third-party faceplates shut down.
Yeah. Threw this one in there for you, Frank.
Well, I got to be honest. I would never buy a third-party faceplate. Like, if it's not officially branded faceplate, if the Sony never releases one of those, I'm never going to change my faceplate. So I'm not into third-party modding of stuff. It kind of makes you want to barf. It's kind of like custom covers in your Blu-rays and all that kind of stuff. I just would never go there. Custom paint jobs for consoles, like controller skins. Oh God. So, no judgment if you're into that. Honestly, I don't care. It doesn't bother me like that. It's just something I would never, ever do. So, I mean, I'm hoping it's because Sony plans on doing some of this stuff, but
yeah, I was just going to say that's definitely a possibility. But yeah, they just threatened legal action against the company that was planning to do these. So
wasn't it more? I mean, I certainly didn't dig too deep into this stuff. I could give a shit, but okay. So the headline summary here is: PlayStation Maker considers unique design part of its intellectual property. Now, I thought there was something about the names of the websites too that had to be changed. I saw somewhere, or
well, yeah, it was called PlayStation 5 or something like that, and PlayStation.com. They had to change that because it was too close to PlayStation. But then beyond that, Sony also said that, you know, they have patents pending on the faceplates themselves.
Okay, so I'm sure people are gonna make them anyway. Like, I'm sure at some point, I'm guessing if you had a good enough 3D printer, there'll be 3D printable versions for this stuff too. So
yeah, that's true. That'd be cool. But, you know, I know a lot of people don't like the white PS5. They're dying to get something else.
I am one of those people, but only through official channels.
Okay.
And I didn't really look at this article. Comparison of launch titles. You want to finally get into some games, what we're going to buy? Okay, before I do that. So I haven't opened them yet, but apparently the headset review for the headset for PlayStation 5 is really good for PlayStation 5 games with like the using its audio and the spatial stuff inside. So I'm probably going to end up opening that. I'm getting pretty excited, and I may play my first games only using that headset, which I don't like to do, but it seems like it's the official experience. Like, if you are part of the officially branded day one experience, you need to be playing.
I think you have to. Yeah, absolutely.
So I have to, I think, by law. Camera might not keep. We'll see what happens there. I haven't heard much about the camera or that it is needed at all. But anyway, let's get into some launch titles.
Yeah, well, so this link that I sent, if you scroll down a bit, they have a nice chart that basically lists all the games, and it will say if it's Xbox only, Sony only. But I kind of just made a quick list for myself because I was like, does Xbox actually have? So we've talked a bit about the Sony exclusives, which you've got Spider-Man, Demon's Soul, Sackboy, Bug Snacks. I think the Pathless is exclusive to Sony, although it's also on iOS and PC, I think. Godfall and Astro's Playroom. So that's like, a decent.
Path. Oh, the Pathless is day one. Sorry, I didn't think it was.
Yeah. So that's like a pretty decent launch lineup for Sony, and those are games. Some of them you can get on PS4, but that being said, they're Sony exclusives as far as I know, so that's pretty solid for them. But then I was looking at Xbox, and obviously a lot of their exclusives are stuff like Gears 5, just like upgraded versions of games that have been out for a year. And so digging into it a little deeper, I think all they have in terms of kind of new stuff that's exclusive, I think, is Dirt 5. Is that on the list? I think that's exclusive to Xbox.
No, it's both.
Oh, it's both?
Yep.
All right, scratch that. Yakuza Like a Dragon is initially exclusive to Xbox. I think it's coming in March for PS5.
Reviews for that, are okay, I think. I haven't seen anything that said it's amazing.
Yeah. And then so the rest of them are like games other one I
know of, even though it's not like exclusive, is Tetris Effect Connected.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like that's coming to PS5 in 2021, but it's like an online version, I think, or something.
Yeah, but it's obviously weird because Tetris Effect is out for PS4 and PSVR. It's just the connected version, right, that you're talking about?
Yeah, I think it's worth adding. I don't know anything about this Manifold Garden game, which is Xbox only.
It's out on PC, though.
Yeah, it's been out for a while on Apple Arcade, I think, as well. So it's not...
There's one game on here, Bright Memory. I'd never heard of. I just looked it up. It's actually on Steam Early Access right now. And it looks like some sort of shooter with like dragons and stuff. I'd never heard of it, though.
Yeah, there was that. The other ones that
Bright Memory. That's that one that was like really cool footage that they showed at their press. One of those videos.
No, I think that's a different game. You're talking about that one that was made by that one Chinese developer.
Yeah, that's the Falconeer, I think, right?
No, that was Falconeer is something else.
Well, this Bright Memory game looks a lot like that game. I agree. That name doesn't sound familiar, but just the general look, yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I don't recall. Yeah, oh, maybe it is. Yeah, you might be right. Some of these screenshots now are ringing a bell. Just before, I hadn't seen that like female character that they're touting.
It is the same game.
Okay.
And one more I should mention, unless I'm missing something here. Gears Tactics has only been available on PC previously, right? And now
that's true. Yeah, yeah. So that's something. And then
if I got an Xbox One Series X, that would be the game I fired up.
Yeah. And then there's Enlisted, Evergate, the Falconeer, and Yes, Your Grace. I don't really know what any of these are. I briefly looked at them, and they seem like kind of smaller indie games, I think. So, that's really not that much. Obviously, Microsoft is not, hanging their hat on having big launch exclusives. They've already said that. They're hoping that Game Pass is something people will look to and upgraded versions of existing games. But, obviously, Halo Infinite was supposed to be a launch title, and losing that is pretty huge.
Yep. All right. So, Sean, what games are you buying day one?
So, day one, I'll be buying Spider-Man Miles Morales, probably Sackboy, and then I'll be playing Bug Snacks and Astro's Playroom. Debating on the Pathless. I do have Apple Arcade. It's coming to Apple Arcade, so I'll be able to play it there, but it sounds like it uses some of the haptic stuff on PS5, so could push me in that direction. What about you?
Every game, probably.
Okay.
The only ones
I'm out of the way.
Debating on, I thought I was going to get NBA 2K1 just because it's the Zion edition for the Pelicans. I still might. We'll see. But I really can't. I don't understand why those games are so insanely popular. Because every time I play them, it's the most brutal experience ever. Like the story modes, connecting is always issues with like. They're all. I know there was stuff with the ads, but I don't understand how EA has not been able to make any ground against that game, because there are lots of issues as far as I'm concerned with the 2K series. Demon Souls, I'm probably the most excited for. Actually, Miles Morales is the one. I saw some stuff with that, and I watched the video for that today, and the effects look amazing. Like, I am pumped. And the Christmas setting and the snow and all this stuff, like, I am pumped for this game. Oh, and the review said they basically turned the old version of Spider-Man into exactly what I wanted. They said it's way smaller. There's less repetitive crime missions and stuff like that. So it sounds perfect to me. I'm guessing some of the like side mission stuff with the other characters is bumped down as well. So I'm in. I think it's going to be amazing.
Did you get the ultimate one that has the remaster?
No, I probably will, because I still can't get consistent answers on this. And this is where I should know the answer. I've looked online. I cannot find any trophy website that's updated specifically with PS5 trophy lists. There's articles here and there with, trophy list released for this game, blah, blah, blah. I think Spider-Man 4 does have its own SKU, so you can re-platinum it if you want. But I want to see what games are re-platinumable on PlayStation. And yeah, that could, part of me, I'm not going to do it. I was thinking, should I re-platinum Spider-Man before I play Miles Morales? I'm not going to.
That's a good idea.
I got to get into the new stuff. But I am excited to look at Devil May Cry 5, because I never beat that, the PS5 special edition, which is supposed to have some pretty big graphical upgrades. I don't know how much of that's true, but that's something I'm interested in. But I'm getting Bug Snacks for free with PlayStation Plus, which is cool. Astro's Playroom looks pretty awesome.
Been hearing a lot of good things about that, so I'm excited. I mean, apparently it's short, but whatever.
And yeah, I will probably get Valhalla, and I think that's it. Pathless, why not? It's cheap, right? Might as well buy it, isn't it?
Yeah,
I'll buy it. The biggest concern for me right now is, when am I going to get this console at my house, and how long is it going to take me to download the games? Like, I think it's going to be, whatever game's smallest, download that first. So probably Bug Snacks, and then just kind of work my way up the list. That's the most annoying thing.
Well, you should have Astro's Playroom on there to start with, right? So that's a good thing.
That's true. I'll probably start there. Never mind. It's going to be great. I can't wait to play it.
Yeah.
Next week, we'll either have extremely happy Frank or extremely pissed off Frank for the show.
Well, there could be various versions of both. So there will be an extremely pissed off Frank if I don't even have my PlayStation when we record next Friday. If it's still being shipped, that will not go well. Last time when I got my PS4 at launch at midnight, it wouldn't work until the next day. So that might even be more unhappy. The fact that you have it and can't use it and I had to go to bed without even playing a game. That was not right. That is just,
why was that? Why was it not?
It was like you would try to connect online and make your profile, and it would just freeze. Everyone on Twitter was going crazy. Like, you can't connect to the PlayStation Network and all this stuff. So let's hope nothing like that happens.
Yeah.
Let's pray.
Let's pray right now.
I do have a PlayStation cigar, which the guys from Pixel Knots got at the PlayStation Experience one time when they went in Vegas. And it's still sitting somewhere. It's probably like so.
You should probably just keep that as a souvenir.
No, I think I'm going to light it up. I think I'm going.
It's going to be so dry.
PlayStation stogie for launch day. Do some streaming.
Well, what are you going to do for the PlayStation 6?
I'll be
Won't
dead.
that be a bigger thing?
I won't have to worry about it. Good to go. So I don't know. I'm pretty excited. I'm still so on Watchdog Legions. I kind of want to try it. When a console launch happens, it's, you never know what you're going to buy. It gets
That's true.
I have seen a couple. I think I watched a Digital Foundry video about it, saying that the graphics are pretty impressive in it on the next gen consoles, with the ray traced reflections and everything like that. So,
yeah, I mean, if it's a 20-hour platinum, it might be getting purchased.
yeah.
Not a.
Are we finished with the Sony gush session? Are we done next gen?
Well, let's gush about all the games we want to buy at the Xbox launch.
Yeah, none. Okay.
Oh yeah,
Let's move on.
I have them all. I threw them a fucking bone with Gears Tactics. You're welcome, Xbox.
The only thing I will say for Xbox, they have a couple of games that are coming out before the end of the year that I was interested in. One was Sable and 12 Minutes. So I'm kind of interested in both of those, and they are Xbox exclusives, but they're kind of more like indie games. So that's just me.
I have some.
All the newspapers. Sorry,
I have some.
It's a Parenthood quote. I got to get it on the soundboard. It's not news.
Breaking news, everyone.
Breaking?
Mass Effect?
Breaking news. Mass Effect. N7 day. Right now. Mass Effect Legendary Edition announced. All three games remastered. The Mass Effect trilogy coming in 2021. And BioWare has announced that they are working on the next Mass Effect game.
That's cool.
Pretty excited.
So
I mean, I never
visuals or anything like.
They just have screenshot of like a poster. I will put it in the chat.
I see the poster.
Yeah, that's what the article I found.
So
well, I guess there is.
But they're not Is it redoing the art or just?
It says, I think it says HD remaster.
That's it.
So I believe the whatever it's called, Mass Effect 1 would probably have quite a bit. Even Mass Effect 2. Like
I guess
the
I was
environments are
wondering.
pretty shit in Mass Effect 2.
Yeah,
it says super sharp resolution, faster frame rates, beautiful visual enhancements.
See, I thought for sure they would try to. This kind of seems like a missed opportunity. Not that I don't like. I really like Mass Effect 1, and it's kind of more hardcore RPG elements. But I'm surprised they didn't like unify the experience when it comes to like the wheels and the aiming and the menus. Like I thought it would be like, okay, let's take, now that we have all three of these games, let's make it like a trilogy, like where it's consistently the same interfaces across the board and like the stories and like obviously the content's different, but I thought for sure that's what they do. This is kind of surprising to me. To me, it's
I hope they don't ruin Mass Effect 1. They better not ruin Mass Effect 1 because it's the best.
I'm sure that's what they were concerned with as well, if they did that. But,
yep,
there's a big leap in what game you're playing from Mass Effect to Mass Effect 2. Like 1 is way more action-based and shooter-based.
Yes.
So that seems kind of weird to me.
Yeah, there's a lot less inventory management in Mass Effect 2, and you also have to collect ammo, which I hate. And yeah, it's action-y.
I really like Mass Effect 2. I never played 3, so this might be a reason to pick this up for me. But
I replayed all of 2 to get ready for 3 and then never played 3. I was like, I'm burnt out on that. The classic problem. The classic Frank problem. Okay. Anything else people want to talk about regarding launch day? Have we missed anything? Any crucial information that people need? If you've got, let's say, $700 lying around, it's not going to make or break you. There's no game you're super excited about. Should you buy either one of these consoles, and which one?
I mean, it depends. Like the PS5, as a lot of people have said, the haptic stuff is the stuff that people are talking about as feeling like a next gen experience, like something new to gaming that you might be excited to try out and see where things are going. But I think beyond that, a lot of these games, a lot of the big games, you're going to be able to play on your last gen consoles still. So maybe wait.
If I had to pick, I would. If I had to pick right now in my current situation, I get a PS5, obviously, because the Xbox has nothing really to offer. If I had skipped this generation, I would go Series X, though.
Whoa,
Because,
no way.
yeah, because I could get Game Pass and have so much to play for minimal cost.
Well,
Yeah.
And then later on, get a
generation,
PS5.
you would have missed the best exclusive games probably in the history of games, all made for PS4 and all available with PlayStation Plus on your PS5. So those are probably 10 or 20 games you need to play if you're a gamer that you missed it. I wouldn't
PS
say
Plus has all the Sony exclusives now?
not all of them.
PlayStation Plus Collection or something it's called, right?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, that's a different story then. Well, then I would probably do that.
Now we're talking. All right, we're on the same page. PS5, no brainer. If you actually care about, one or two games, I would say get a PlayStation 5 for sure. And I'm hoping everyone that wants one can. No one likes being left out on launch day. I know I talk about exclusivity and vaults and stuff like that, but launch day, we want everyone to be included. You got to be part of the new consoles. You can't be living in the past. Anyway,
Okay.
I can't wait. Imagine it shows up at my door. Box is just smashed, like just destroyed.
Yeah,
that might be the worst case scenario. Where I did get something from Costco over the summer, like Sonos speakers, and they never left the shipping place. And I don't know what happened. I don't know if the truck exploded or something happened. If I go to that old tracking order, it's still there. It's saying waiting for delivery. So I had to go through Costco and they just gave me new ones basically. And they were dealing with, I think it was UPS. But they could be sitting in a locked garage somewhere. They could be blocked in and they might show up at my house one day. I have no idea, but
sounds like they fell off the truck.
There are accidents in deliveries. So, you never know.
Yeah. I mean, these things are going to be hot commodities. They're going to need some security on these trucks, I think.
Hire Brinks to do the deliveries.
Yeah.
Apple's pretty good with delivering to your house. Like they tell you when it's coming. You have to sign and hand off and stuff like that. So
cool.
I can't get here soon enough. Fuck. Finally. Anyway, let's get into what we played. Huck, you want to go first?
Sure. I continued my LucasArts adventure game mode. I finished off Full Throttle, which was even shorter than I remember it being when following the guide. And yeah, it was a fun little game. Still love the humor, still love the art. Definitely short. Definitely didn't want to figure out any of those puzzles myself. And
we talked about it a bit. The end fight with that, is it a plane that you're?
Yeah.
With a guide, it took me a few tries. Like how you have to go around the one part. Like I failed a bunch. I'm like, this is brutal. I would without a guide, this would have been literally impossible.
Yeah, I had a YouTube video guide. So it was much easier to just follow it basically step for step. It was basically a full walkthrough of the game. So I basically just played beside it while I played.
Some areas, there's a couple of really confusing areas, where it's the outside of that factory or corporation or something like that, where you have to go down a level and I was like, I would have never known what the fuck to do here. I need my select button on PlayStation, like Final Fantasy VII, to tell me where the exits are.
Yes. Yeah. Or the new PlayStation 5 video walkthrough sections.
Definitely. My favorite thing about that game though is the context wheel, like how it's
Yeah.
the hand, mouth, foot.
The eyes.
I
Yeah.
love it. That is
Lick.
so good. Yeah.
Put in your mouth. Yeah, no, it's funny. I like that game a lot, but definitely a guide mandatory game. Go ahead, Sean,
Sean?
or whoever.
Okay, I got two quick things to mention. So I played a bit of Star Wars Squadrons. This went on sale this week. There's actually a pretty good sale on PSN, I think, because they're trying to push games out before the next gen consoles hit and everybody forgets about them. But there's some stuff that fairly recent releases that are going on sale. So maybe check that out. But Star Wars Squadrons, was excited to try this out in VR. And I tried the prologue. And man, like maybe 5 minutes in, the motion sickness started to hit me. Because the thing with this game, and it's really cool. Like the VR experience is great. Like you're literally in the cockpit. You can look around. You've got your peripheral vision and stuff. But there's no like horizon, right? There's no like, so you kind of, as soon as you start rolling, you're like, I don't know where the hell I am in space here. And it messes you up. So I think they try to kind of put like some bigger objects, like big starships and stuff in the levels to sort of, so you can try and use that to judge which way is up. But it was tough for me. Like I kind of tried to push through and kind of take it really slow, but then it's like, that's not that fun. You know, you feel like you're really like taking your time to line everything up, and it just kind of loses a bit of the excitement. So then I tried without VR, and you know, it was okay. It was a little bit, I don't know, definitely lost something without the VR there. But I will say some of the story elements of it, from what I saw so far, I was kind of impressed. Like I was kind of into the story, which is obviously mostly being told through audio of talking to other pilots and stuff. So, yeah, it was pretty good. I do really want to go back and keep pushing the VR and see if I can handle it. But yeah, other than what was the PSVR game where that came with the blaster? Can't remember what that one's called now. Farpoint, I think.
Yep.
That was the other one I tried, like sort of the free move, and I really got sick from that. But other than that, this was the only other time I've kind of hit that so far in VR games. So maybe be aware of that if you're excited about it. But it would be cool if I wasn't feeling sick. And then just real quick, I played on Game Pass a little bit of Supraland. I don't know if you guys saw this pop up on there, but I had seen this on Steam a while back, and it had like great reviews, and it was being called like a cross between Metroid and Portal. So I was like, okay, this is on my radar now. I'm interested. But I mean, to look at it, it doesn't look like much. Like it's kind of these red stick people. And I was like, what is this game? So I tried it out a bit, and it actually reminds me a little bit more of The Witness. Like it's sort of an open world puzzle game where there's just all these puzzles you have to solve as you go through the world. And there is some combat, but I mean, it just, you know, and as you go along, you collect these coins that you can trade in for powers that make you go faster, jump higher, things like that, so you can get past certain obstacles. I was enjoying it. I mean, I don't know that I was entirely blown away by it, but it's definitely my kind of game, so I think I'll probably be going back to it at some point.
The Metacritic is super high for it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I was a little surprised at how great the reviews were, but maybe I just haven't gotten far enough to really see the full inventiveness of it. But it's
this was not on my radar. It looks pretty good.
Yeah, I've never even heard of this game.
Yeah, check it out.
I mean, that's one thing with Game Pass. There's no easy answer for this, but like some of the art is so uninspiring. Like I just skip over it, and it sucks that so much of playing these games, like you have to download it. I don't know. I'm judging it based on this one image, and they're really not very good usually. Like in terms of how they, like, it doesn't even to me accurately present what type of game it is. I don't know. It's probably the weirdest thing about like digital game stuff. Like it's so hard to communicate what your game is through one image. And sometimes like it's not even the art style of the game. It's some other thing entirely. And I don't know. It's
Yeah, well, I mean, definitely with that game, I would have completely overlooked it based on the screenshots, but it's interesting.
okay. I completed Resident Evil 7. I was gushing about it last week, and I would say overall, I really liked the game. Borderline loved. If I had a complaint, it really is the last third of the game. You kind of get out of a main area for a while, and the stuff towards the end I was less enthused with. I didn't dislike it, but it was a little less interesting in terms of the location and mood and atmosphere. Where the first 2/3 of the game I think are incredible, and they've done some really cool stuff with turning Resident Evil first person. I think I talked about this last time. I'm not sure, but they hide things really well. Like there's stuff hidden in very like unobvious places, which is kind of different for that game. And because it's first person, it encourages exploration. And then there's a whole kind of resource system where you can get these some kind of drug or something that helps you see where items are. So it's another thing to think about when crafting stuff rather than just ammunition or health and stuff like that. So I don't know. I think it's a game that doesn't get talked about enough. I'm kind of curious to play it in VR, but I'm not sure if I ever will. But it's really good. I love the game.
Cool.
I played a small game called Wilmont's Warehouse. I think it's produced by Finji. I don't know who developed it, but it was on Epic Store a while ago for free. And essentially, you play as this box guy that is in a warehouse, and things get delivered. So you start off with like 4 different types of boxes that get delivered, and you have to basically at the bottom of the screen, a truck pulls up and drops down. Now it's a scrolling screen, so it's quite large, and it drops off like a big, maybe like a 9x9 square of boxes, or maybe not that big, maybe 6x6 square of these boxes. Each box has a different icon representing a type of thing. So then you have to take this random assortment of box and kind of sort it in the warehouse. And then you go up to the top, and there is basically like a counter that opens up, and there's customers there, and they request a certain number of a certain type of things. So, you know, someone might request like 2 hats, another person might request 2 candles, and then you have to go into the warehouse, pick those things up, carry them, and you can only carry 6 things at a time. And then you deliver them, and then it kind of repeats this process. And as you get further and further along, you can gain, depending on how well you do with your deliveries, you gain stars, which you can use to upgrade your guy by being able to move faster or carry more things or make more space in your warehouse. And then there's also, as you progress, more and more items are added that can be dropped off for delivery. So instead of managing 4 different types of items, you eventually have to manage up to 200 different types of items. So I got up to about 60 or 70 different types of items that I had to manage. And also your time to manage them is limited. So it gets really tricky.
What was the name of this again?
Wilmont's Warehouse. So it's just a 2D top-down game, very basic graphics, pretty fun. But I must say, at this point where it got to like 70 items, I was overwhelmed with the amount of shit I had to handle, and trying to make enough space for everything and move it into spots and trying to remember where everything is, because the warehouse is fairly large. So you have to kind of go left to right, up to down to find everything. And you only get like 2 minutes to find the things in your warehouse to deliver to the people at the counter. So if you don't have a really like good memory or a very good system of where you put everything, you're going to lose where everything is. And also the icons for the boxes are not visible all the time. So you actually have to get kind of close to them with your character for the icon to actually show up. So you do have to move through the environment, and you can't zoom out the camera or anything. So it was, I don't know if I'd call it fun, but I enjoyed it up to a certain point, and then it became a very difficult task, and I was not enjoying it anymore. So I don't know if people are OCD and love organizing shit, this might be the game for you, but otherwise I would say maybe give it a try, especially if you got it for free on Epic Games Store, but I wouldn't like force yourself to go all the way to the end of this game.
Does this
Looks
have
kind of cool.
Does this have a co-op mode? Seems like it could be like an overcooked kind of thing, right?
I think it does, yeah.
Or like that moving out game sounds a little similar to that, maybe.
Yeah, those are kind of more, I guess so. Those are more like a little more intense, I would say.
I'm waiting for Indiana Jones DLC, where you have to do the house from Indiana Jones.
Yeah. Find a place to store the box. I could do one more. I started up Quantum Break. I was in the mood for like a third-person action-y game, and I've had this one downloaded for a long time on my Xbox since it came to Game Pass, or since I got Game Pass. Finally dove in. Now, the first time I played it, I think I played the first act and then skipped the TV show. And this time I was like, I'm going to play this legit. I'm going to really focus on everything, focus on the story, watch the TV show. And I'm about halfway through the third act, or I just finished the second act, I guess. I'm about to start the third act. And I'm really enjoying it. I'm watching all the shows. So I think I'm about halfway through the game. And I'm liking the story a lot. I'm liking the TV aspect of it, or the TV show aspect of it, a lot more than I thought I would. And I thought all the acting's good. The like crazy effects and how they slow and stop time and all that throughout the gameplay is really cool. The movement is a little clunky after playing, more, I guess, newer RPG, or not RPGs, third-person shooter games. And the checkpointing system is pretty brutal. If you die, it's almost always behind some sort of fairly long cutscene, or it takes you back really far. So that's kind of frustrating. And there is
Sounds like par for the course for Remedy, as far as I'm concerned.
There is a neat like choice aspect to it. So after each act, you get to choose sort of like a path for the bad guy, quote unquote, and it changes how the story progresses. And I found it pretty neat, actually. The first time I picked kind of like the bad option, I guess. Only 20% of people had chosen this. And then the second time I took the more popular one, which was like 60% of people had chosen it. So it's kind of neat. I don't know how it branches off of each other. I haven't kind of done any deep dive into see how the story goes through, but overall I'm enjoying it. I'm going to try to beat it. I looked it up. It's only like a 10-hour game or something like that. So I'm hoping to kind of go through the rest of the game and finish it off. But overall, it's a nice surprise and one I had never got to before in the past. So really enjoying it so far.
Nice.
Yeah, I played that game. It was pretty good. I remember enjoying it.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's it for me. Does anyone else have anything?
Nope.
Okay. Gonna wrap it up. Get ready. Next week, hopefully we've all been hands-on with the PlayStation 5. Well, Sean and I will be. Huck's gonna have to wait, but it's okay. I mean, if maybe you have to, maybe I could put it in my garage or outdoors or something if you wanted to come by and actually try it. I don't know. We could work something out. But
well, if the weather stays nice, we'll see.
I mean, you can always wear a mask if you want. If you really got to get your hands on it, I know I would. I would want to.
Sanitize the controller after each touch.
I got two.
Oh, there you go.
We might have to do some streaming or something. We'll have to figure something out.
Yeah. But yeah, stay tuned next week. Huge episode. We're gonna weigh in and cut through all the bullshit with these paid articles and advertising. We're gonna give you. We're not getting free stuff. We're not getting stuff to say, give these positive reviews. Every review is the same. Oh, 8.5. It's good. It's good. Blah. We're going to give you the truth. This is where you come for the truth when it comes to video. And check us out on youtube.com/Game Junk. Game Junk Podcast on Twitter. Film Junk on Twitter. Equilibrium Sis on Twitter. My Angry Commute on Twitter. Am I missing anything?
No, I think that's it.
Perfect. We'll see you next week. Bye-bye.
So I just went to the PlayStation Store website when Sean was talking about it. Man, it is a piece of shit now, like you were saying, Frank. Holy shit. I went to deals. I can't sort by price. I can't sort by name. I can't sort by anything.
It's the worst.
It is the worst. How could they think that this was a good thing to roll out?
I don't know. I think they're not concerned about the web interface anymore. They just want integration with the console.
I guess, but are they not going to give you the ability to sort on the console? Has this rolled into the PS4?
I think so.
Has anyone gone on the PS4 store? Can you no longer sort by name, price, title?
I don't know.
I'm not sure, but I think that was the plan, that it was going to change on there somehow.
Oh man,
it's awful.
This could be bad. This could be bad for them.
I can't even talk. I look at my eyes. I look like I'm still asleep. I can't.
Yeah, I'm half asleep. Don't worry.